Hey nerds, we are talking about Star Trek Lower Deck Season 3, Episode 3, Mining the Mind's Minds. We are going to review the episode and then get into a spoiler breakdown of the episode starting now. Welcome to the Nerd Social. I'm Nathan.
And I'm Andrew.
So, I did not misspeak. This is actually a do-over. I recorded this review with Chandra earlier, but my audio did not get picked up. So I'm going to try to recreate my part of the conversation, and I'll cut in the parts that Chandra did already. Before we start, let me read the spoiler-free log line for the episode. On a remote science outpost, stone orbs are bringing fantasies to life. Tendi starts her first day as a Senior Science Officer Trainee. So I'm going to let Chandra start with her review of the episode.
Yeah, it was a nice little fun episode, reminiscent of, I think, throughout Star Trek, where you see some like aspect of mind control involved. So that was fun, and there were a lot of references to, as we've seen like throughout this series, references to other iterations of Star Trek. So it was like a nice little diversion. We continue to see, I think, Mariner's growth and maturity in Starfleet. So that's been like a fun journey to watch. She's certainly hot-headed, so she used to be, but still very much creative and all about doing things her way. So yeah, I enjoyed this episode.
All right, so I think this episode was okay. It's not super great. It was just okay. I actually watched it about a month ago, and I had to rewatch it last night to remind myself of what happened in the episode. I actually had forgotten that Tendi went through Senior Science Officer Training in this episode, as the spoiler-free logline mentions. There's some jokes in here. There are some Easter eggs in here. Not a lot. Like I said, it's mostly okay for me. It's nothing. It's probably not the highlight of the season, and I don't know if I'll revisit this episode. There is some character development in here a little bit with Mariner. But besides that, there isn't much really to talk about in this episode. We're gonna, I guess, run down some of the Easter eggs later on in some of the major plot points. But yeah, it's an okay episode. I'd probably give it a 5/5.
Do you want to get into spoilers? No, yeah, it was like an okay episode, just not a whole lot to.
All right, I guess we can get into the breakdown of the episode. Before we do that, if you are enjoying the conversation, please like, share, and subscribe. It really helps the channel out, helps us grow, helps us give you more content like this. So, without further ado, spoilers ahead. So this episode starts with a cold open with a scientist being, I guess, tempted by a vision of his old teacher.
Yeah, so can I say, I always find it hilarious. So it's like this outpost scientist or Federation scientist who is clearly an older adult, and he has this vision of his, I forget if it was seventh grade or like a teacher though, so like back when he was in grade school, who has not aged, and nothing goes off in his brain to be like, oh, this is not correct. There's something off about this whole scenario. And she's also dressed not right, and it's so not appropriate for the classroom and not appropriate for the climate that he's in right now. And I'm just like, I feel like at some point in your Starfleet training, or you're like on the frontiers of the Federation or whatever training, there should be like a course on these types of things that should raise your like alarm bells, right? The people you knew 50 years ago and they don't look like they've aged, that's a problem. It just cracks me up that, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was what Ransom's point was here when he was doing this debrief with Beckett and Lieutenant Stevens. Yeah, they're not part of Starfleet, so they get themselves into trouble.
Right.
And also, I guess we'd have a far less Star Trek episodes if we didn't have scientists getting themselves terrible situations.
Right. A little bit. But I'm also like, do you even need to go through Starfleet to realize like that this somebody just appearing out of nowhere is not maybe cause for, I don't know, concern? Maybe just pause for a little bit.
Yeah, but I know people who are like technically inclined that just are very obtuse about things like that. So I don't know. Maybe Starfleet training will give you some sort of situational awareness that you don't get when you're just a scientist and then you decide to go out into the front.
Yeah. I also thought it was funny, like how his vision, and also, was it Mariner? No, Rutherford, right? Because Rutherford sees Dr. Leah Braun. And it's funny because they're saying these things in a very come hither, like sensual manner, but they're talking about super nerdy things. So just like the juxtaposition is just hilarious. hilarious, right? Like, this is what gets you excited, right? Let me talk to you about math. Can you check my equations? Let's talk about this book I wrote.
Yeah, it's like the Boimler episode. It's like the women with the raisins in the first episode with Boimler, except for they were actually using like sexual innuendo. But I think just the mathematical things is actually a turn on for Rutherford.
He is very, he really is.
So it's a little bit different. I should actually back up a bit because after the code open, Captain Freeman mentions that the Hood, the USS Hood, brokers a peace between the Scrubble and the scientist. So the last time we saw the Hood was actually in the Nemesis, but the Hood was the ship of Captain Soto, and if you remember from the TNG episode, William Riker served under. He came on the Enterprise and caused some issues because he was trying to recover that cloaking device. And apparently, Forge also served on the Hood as well, perhaps under DeSoto, but it's unclear. But I guess the current captain now is Merrick. So we get Tendi going through Science Officer Training, and she has a mentor who she wasn't expecting, Dr. Miglibu, who actually gives her pretty good advice.
He does give her good advice, but he
gives her good advice, but he's obviously not prepared, is he, for the assignment either. He's not taking it seriously.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Yes.
Yeah, and she gets the same advice from Tiana later on in the episode.
But he was also very flippant about, because he's like going through, I guess, the guidebook or the manual, and he hadn't reviewed it. So I think his advice, even though it was the same advice, came off as lacking context, and he didn't really know Tendi. And so I can see how, even though it's the same advice, from her perspective, it'd be like, oh, he doesn't know me. He hasn't even bothered to read the training manual, so he doesn't know what he's talking about, right?
Right. He's reading the training manual right in front of her, and he mentions that there's a forward by Ambassador Spock. Just as an aside, we haven't learned what Blimo's species is yet. It's still undisclosed. There are other avian species. The Zendi avians were in Star Trek Enterprise. They were extinct. The Aurelians were from S, but he's not an Aurelian because he's not yellow or gold. And then there's the Betelgeusians that showed up in Star Trek, the motion picture, and also in Discovery a couple times. Most notably when they went to the future, the David Cronenberg character was explaining to Burnham about a Betelgeusian that came over from a different universe in a different time that died. But we still don't know what Miglimo is. I think on Memory Alpha it just says Miglimo's species.
Right.
So back on the planet, like you said, Leah Brahms shows up for Boimler, and also looking this up a little bit, the actress Susan Gibney, she showed up in those 2 episodes with Geordi, but she also showed up in 2 episodes for Star Trek Voyager as well, when the fluid space aliens were like trying to pretend to be Starfleet. I think Homefront and Paradise Lost. She showed up in those 2 episodes as well.
Right. Yeah. Yes. I also thought it was interesting that she had auditioned for Janeway and a couple of other, like looking her up, I was like, oh wait, I didn't remember that she was in Voyager like several years after being in.
Yeah, I don't think she would have gotten Janeway. I think she was too recognizable from those 2 episodes where Geordi was acting super, super creepy with the hologram that he created of her, and then later on when she showed up on the ship in a later episode in the Galaxy's Child episode when he expected her to act like the hologram.
Yeah. Yeah, with the hologram. Yes. Yeah, that, and apparently, and also auditioned for the Borg Queen. So I was like, oh, that's pretty.
I guess she could have won the role as the Borg Queen because there's a lot of prosthetics there.
Yeah, you would forget her role as Brahms, but yeah, it's funny, that she shows up for Rutherford in the same as an idol.
A couple other notes here: the ensigns here from the
Carlsbad.
The Carlsbad. We don't get all of their names, but the large one named Cordy, he seems to be a Zaldan because he has web hands, and the last time we saw then was in the episode Coming of Age with Wesley Crusher when he was doing the Starfleet exams, and he went out into the hallway and he knocked into a large Zaldan with web fingers, and he figured out the situation, and also he figured out that it was part of the test. That was the last time we saw Zaldan, and I think the other one is a Tellarite, but we don't actually get his name in this episode.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, and back on the planet, we do get other hallucinations. Besides that, we get Beckett hallucinating all kinds of things about Jennifer. First, seeing her, and then seeing her as a werewolf, and then Boimler says that she needs to go back to therapy.
Yeah. But I think this was like how they sort of reveal that she is in some sort of relationship with the Andorian. Because I think the last time you saw them, they did get along, but then they seemed to sort of have reconciled.
Yeah, and also there's some interesting nightmares as well. There's a clown Klingons with bat-lift arms and a Borg serpent, large serpent.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, so Tendi gets the same information or the same advice from Donna, but she's far more direct, and also her bedside manner here with this patient is also a little out there.
That's a little much. It's like, really? Right. And also maybe sedate him before you do it. I don't know.
She does sedate him when she mentions the thing eating his foot, and then he starts to get agitated again when she mentions that she has to cut his leg off to regrow it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, chainsaw just seemed like very, very dramatic. But I also just,
Yeah, I guess the Saint Saul was a little dramatic, but I guess there's really no other way that you can do this, because if you want to grow the limb back, you can't really cauterize the wound. And if you want to regrow it, if it was a similar situation today, you would have to cut off the leg with a chainsaw. And I guess maybe there isn't any other solution if you're going to try to grow it back, because you don't want to cauterize it with a phaser.
oh, yeah.
Although he should probably be completely knocked out before she starts to cut his leg off.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No. Yeah. It's like 24th century medicine. You should not be having this conversation in this way. This is not how the patient should be finding out that they're probably going to lose their foot and have it regrown. But it was hilarious.
Anyway, so back on the ground, the ensigns find out that
The outpost is.
are working with the Scrubble to sell Starfleet secrets and probing mines, and to sell Starfleet secrets to get better equipment. And the Scrubble were trying to get out of better rocks. Like Freeman says, she doesn't even know how that would work.
But I just thought like the whole thing was hilarious. Like the thought of scientists like committing espionage so that they can afford more equipment was just, I have never thought of committing a crime. So I can buy some like fancy equipment, but right.
What, you mean that you as a scientist, you never tried to commit crimes to advance your scientific endeavors?
No, definitely not. But this is why ethics are important, kids. Not all money is good money. But it was funny. It's all like they had pure intentions, I guess, but just like,
Pure intention, sort of, but this is what I was talking about earlier, when you have very scientifically or technically gifted people that lack the ability to see the forest for the trees.
it is.
Like, the selling secrets could actually lead to people dying, even if they're trying to advance science, so it doesn't make any sense.
Oh, for sure. But this is why government should also increase funding for science, is all I'm saying. Like,
True enough, but that's what Ransom was saying about joining Starfleet. If they were part of Starfleet, they would probably be able to have any equipment they wanted, but they decided not to go through Starfleet. So the government would have provided them with what they needed.
yeah, no, it was just like funny because it's not for some like grand, not to obtain power, not for, it was just like, no, we want to buy more cool toys and we want rocks. It's funny.
It seems that by the end of the episode, the two ensigns' crews make up it. How Mariner and Rutherford and Boimler were reading the situation wrong. They were admiring of the Cerritos as a Cali class ship.
Yeah. I did think it was cool that they didn't like that they thought was a rivalry was actually admiration. Because I think because Beckett gets that criticism that she's anti-Starfleet screwing things up, but among the Cali class ship, nah, you guys have done amazing things and basically saved like actual recognition of what the value of what they've done.
Yeah, they've done quite a bit, probably more than most ensigns in Starfleet. So I guess they should have some recognition, at least within their rank.
Right? Because I think from the senior officer standpoint, they're just viewed as screw ups. I thought, yeah, like you are actually considered kind of cool.
Well, that's pretty much it for the episode. I think we covered most of the Easter eggs in this episode, except for the fact that the Scrubble's silicon-based life forms, and there are several episodes with silicon-based life forms. I guess the most famous one would be the Horta in the TOS episode, The Devil in the Dark.
Yeah.
But besides that, I think we covered everything. But, and also there's a mention of Parisi squares earlier on in the episode as well. That Stevens mentions Parisi squares earlier on in the episode. And I think the last time we heard that mention was in Star Trek Voyager. Most notably is in that episode when the Doctor created a holographic family, and his daughter died playing Parrises squares.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's what we think. Did we miss anything? Do you love this episode? Comment down below and subscribe for more content like this. And we will see you next week. All right, guys. Bye.